Sony, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So, you may have heard about the news or you may haven't, but recently Sony had announced that they're going to be releasing the PlayStation 5 Pro on November 7th of this year. Not a lot of people are very happy about this. I'm not very happy about it because I think it's just ridiculous on what Sony is asking with this price, but they recently had announced that the price for this console was gonna be at a starting price of $700. 700. And if you're a person that wants to, get physical games, here's the thing. You have to have an additional $80 so you can have a disc drive, which I think is crazy to me because why is it separate? Like consoles, a lot of consoles nowadays, right? They should have the disc drive, but no. The PlayStation 5 Pro does not have that. And if you want your console to be standing upright on your counter, you have to probably pay like $30 for that, which is insane. So adding it up together, that's basically like $800 plus tax. That's gonna be like what, $830, $840, depending on where you are. But I don't know what Sony was thinking with this. I know like inflation is like a thing, I guess, now in the gaming industry. I mean, like, y'all remember when video games used to cost like what, like $50 at the most? Even I thought back then that was still an insane price. But nowadays, a lot of video games are like $60 to $70 just for the base game, no DLCs included. It's just that. And I think that's just crazy on how it is also affecting our own entertainment with inflation. Apparently, the PlayStation 5 Pro has some pretty good quotations, pretty good qualities of it. Apparently it has a better GPU, the upscaling is way better than the original PS5, but judging from the clips that they shown in their showcase, there isn't really much of a difference. I mean, if you're somebody that has like those glasses, those magnifying glasses, and you can clearly tell where the difference is, okay, you know what, go get yourself a PlayStation 5 Pro, because if you care that much for like such teensy weensy details, that's on you. But is it really worth like just throwing out like $800 on a console that just gives you a little bit better specs? I don't know about that. I mean, like, with that price, bro, you could probably get yourself a pretty decent, gaming laptop if you're wanting to have better quality, gaming. I know a couple years ago when the PlayStation 3 came out, the starting price was about, $499 to $599, which was crazy. And if we are going to compare that to, the inflation in the price in this era, it would be around $780, which I do think that is pretty crazy. But here's the thing about the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 was probably like the best like addition in like any PlayStation console, because that console offered so much to the table. Like, it had PlayStation 2 compatibility. It was basically like the first Blu-ray DVD player, and so many people bought it because it was just the best of the best. But if we're gonna compare this obviously to the PlayStation 5 Pro, there isn't, like, yeah, you get better quality, but I mean, like, if you have a PlayStation 5 already, just keep your PlayStation, bro. Just keep it. I personally don't think it's that worth, And before you come at me and say, oh my gosh, Kian, you're such a hater, I'm not. I used to love, playing a lot of PlayStation games as a kid. Like, PlayStation consoles, those were literally like my childhood. I would literally play on my PS2 in the Philippines.
Oi, Bailey Bins! Woo!
Playing Shrek 2 like for hours and hours, by the way. Best game that they ever released on the console. But I even have like a PSP, and I played like the best like Ratchet and Clank franchise, which is definitely not biased. I personally just have a really strong childhood with that game. I grew up playing a lot of PlayStation consoles, so it's not like I'm hating on this, but I feel I am hating. I am hating on it because I think something should be done. But knowing Sony and just the ridiculous amounts of like time it takes for them to put like certain games onto PC, it takes them like years. And by the way, Last of Us 2 came out like how many years ago? 4 years ago or so? 4 or 5? I don't even know. But it's still not on PC. Same with Spider-Man 2. That's still not out, which is crazy to me. What's going on with that? But here's the thing. Buying this console is like Apple just released the iPhone 16 and you have an iPhone 15 Pro. There isn't really much of a difference going on there. This price is just crazy to me. I mean, like, I've done a lot of research on this console and how I could like try to change my mind about this insane price. But bro, $800 for a console in this economy, bro? In this economy, people are dying. People are scavenging for food. And you're telling me this console is almost $1,000? Like, knowing the price of this now, I definitely think the price of the PS6 when it comes out, it's gonna be out of this world. And I think it's just like this PS5 Pro is here to prepare us for what's to come. And honestly, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. The thing about this PS5 Pro is that it doesn't even like have that many games to be like added. Currently right now, they're planning to have like 50 games for people to choose from for this console. But also, here's the thing. The PS5 Pro, it very much decides on what the developers will do and how they could possibly like improve the graphics of their games, because that is what's like a huge factor. They're going to rely on a lot of developers on trying to make, let's say, Last of Us, right? Last of Us 2, it will be out on PS5 Pro. If the graphics are not that good, it's all the developers. Like, obviously, here's the thing, there isn't even much of a difference. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that the PS5 Pro doesn't have like a crazy difference. Like, it's definitely there. It's somewhat noticeable. But if we are gonna put this by a side-by-side comparison, you can sort of, but not really see the difference between the two. 30 FPS, 60 FPS, yeah, there is a bit of a difference there. But I do think it's kind of crazy how we're running 30 FPS on a PlayStation 5. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't even own a PS5, and I thought the PS5 was even running at like 60 FPS in the first place, but apparently it wasn't. And that's just crazy to me, because you know, it would make so much sense if this console specifically was gonna run at like what, like 120? Like, that would be sort of worth it. If I will not lie, that would be worth the price. If it also included the disk drive and the stand, of course. But I mean, the only clear like differences in these like, you know, videos that they've shown in their showcase, it's just probably like it's more saturated, it's more like sharper. But like, to me, I really do not see a difference like at all. Maybe you could see like a certain part of like the game, like a certain text of like a certain part of the building more clearer, but I could not care less about details like that. Like, if you truly care about details like this, all right, man, okay. This whole console is like a complete joke. It's ridiculous. I probably said that word like 300 times in this entire video, but it really is ridiculous. And it does make me sad on how the prices of these consoles are gradually getting more and more expensive. Well, the PS5 Pro has made that crazy jump, which will make the PS6 more and more expensive. And I just think that I don't think gaming should be such an expensive like hobby. I don't think people should be restricted from playing the games that they love simply because of a console like this is costing like somebody's like mortgage on a car. Like, it's just crazy to me. And I really hope Sony hears the people, but knowing Sony, they're probably not gonna listen. As I said, these guys could not care less. They just want your money, bro. They just want your money. But it truly does make me sad, because like, who even knows the prices for these like consoles will be in the next like 10 to 30 years, if we're even alive by then. As I said, gaming really shouldn't be a luxury. It shouldn't be something that people have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to play their favorite games. It makes me sad how Sony is trying to bring the narrative of forcing people to buy games digitally instead of like getting the physical copy. Like as a kid, going to GameStop or Best Buy and buying the newest game that just came out that day and having the physical copy in my hands and putting that game in my own console was like, it's such like a nostalgic feeling. And it's like Sony like trying to remove that. I don't like anything about that. I grew up playing PlayStation games, as I said, so something like this, like not being taken away, but it is being like locked behind a paywall. $80 for a disc drive. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what Sony was trying to like achieve here. It truly does feel like Sony is just trying to get any possible like change from this like release, and it is really saddening. It truly is. The PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, there really wasn't much of a difference with the price. If anything, it was like $100 like price difference. The price of this PlayStation 5 as of now is about like $500-ish dollars. So how do we go from 700, or I should say 800? That's a $300 difference, which, you know, I mean, like, listen, maybe it's because the manufacturing and like the prices of like upgrading these certain like, you know, GPUs and stuff, it's just gotten more expensive. But Sony is a billion-dollar company. They have the money. But I don't know. I personally think it's just really not worth it. If you're gonna invest this much on a console, you might as well buy a PC. If you haven't had a PlayStation 5, get yourself a PlayStation 5 instead of this PS5 Pro crap. You know, like, if you're paying this much for a console, you'd probably expect more. You expect more of an upgrade, because like a $300 like difference in the original PS5, you know, you would see a difference, but there really wasn't much of a difference. You might call me crazy for this, but I personally still think the PS4 is a still viable console. But it is kind of sad how obviously like PlayStation is trying to like make you buy a console like PS5. They're trying to force you to buy a console, because nowadays Sony is like getting to that point where they're only releasing these games for PS5. Like for example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that game is only for PS5 at the moment, which is crazy to me. My final thoughts on this, I generally don't know what Sony was thinking, but we'll see how this will, you know, go when it comes out for everybody. But let me know what you guys think about this console. I would love to hear your guys' opinions, but I am not the one to be buying this. Never in a million years. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.